Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Empathy Workout number 1 of 2021. We're so excited to have you all. We love to start these off with a little icebreaker round. The question was just up on the screen, and I actually am so excited to see you all that I don't remember the question. Is it?
What artist do you want to collaborate with?
Okay. Anyone feeling brave? Want to lead us off? Introduce yourself, where you're calling in from, and answer the question.
I'll start off.
Hey, Leah.
Hi, I'm Leah Brown, and I'm in Louisville, Kentucky, and super, super excited to be here with you. Thanks so much. I think the artist that I would most like to collaborate with is Alicia Keys. I love her music. I love what she stands for. I've listened to her book 5 times on Audible, and I just love everything about her.
Oh, thank you for sharing, and thank you for being brave and leading us off. Anyone else want to take another question from the Culture Edition? Is that you, Al?
Yes, that's me. Happy New Year to everyone. Glad to be here. Also, empathy is my word for 2021, so I will be here. I would say that Queen Latifah would be the artist with whom I would most like to collaborate, because she is such a clinical Renaissance threat. I mean, she has really done it all, and she is so intersectional on so many different levels. And
What medium would you collaborate with her on?
I would love to be involved in producing a screenplay where she played somebody like Ethel Waters, another, the original Black entertainment superstar.
That's beautiful, Al. All right, we're gonna do one more. Amina, I saw you jumping in here. I'm gonna pull a new question for you, though. All right?
Okay, sure.
Okay, your question is, what is the most amazing piece of technology that has been invented in your lifetime?
Whew. Wow. See, I was ready to say Christian Scott. Now I got to think about. I would probably have to say Oh, by the way, yes, my name is Amina Jordan Mendez. I'm a poet. I would have to say something I'm really amazed by is that hoverboard thing that you can like fly with water. I think that's pretty amazing.
That's cool. I've not seen that in person, so.
Me neither.
I'm gonna go watch YouTube videos of that afterwards. All right, well, thank you and welcome. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Empathy Workout number 1 of 2021. We're calling it MLK to George Floyd and Beyond, a year-long movement for empathy. And we're excited to have you here. Happy holidays. We haven't seen you since November, and Happy New Year. I know that we all, I'm guessing, I'm pretty sure, all wish we could be a lot happier right now, going into ushering in a new leadership into our country. But sadly, we are in likely the darkest time I can say for my lifetime, for many of our lifetimes. And I know that from the notes that we've been receiving and the DMs we've been receiving, that many of you are here because you want to prepare yourself to try and be the best leader you can be going into these coming months. as I talk about it, I feel a bit of anxiety, because I think the challenge is I can't really envision any sort of path. All I can do is believe, and that's a scary thing to do, is to just believe and continue to return to whatever I can do to show up as my best self, and share compassion, and share tools, and help heal one interaction at a time. So that's what this is about. We started empathy workouts in October of 2020 because we wanted to help our community strengthen their tools of empathy going into the contentious elections and a holiday like no other, with COVID distancing us and not allowing us to be as close as we'd like to be. It worked. We managed to get the movement featured in the New York Times, which then led to more community and more energy, and being able to commit to continuing going forward. Many of you who know me, I'm introverted. I've been healing from anxiety, so it's a day-by-day process. And when you all have come into this movement, it's helped me to really get that energy to keep moving forward. We took on another month. We went into November and did empathy workouts for 4 more weeks. And then we had to tap out for the month of December for a little while to recharge and figure out how we were going to bring our full self, what this would look like going into 2021. During that time, we were so blessed to have had the movement get featured by Al Roker on the NBC Today show, which then brought in more of you all, more community into this movement. We took some time during December to think about how we could best make this a year-long thing, not just a thing of the moment, not a trend around Black Lives Matter, not, I guess we kind of already knew that it was going to continue to be tough, even though leadership had changed over. If half of our country voted one way and another half voted another way, we're very much divided. And so we are here. Our plan is to make this a year-long movement to spread empathy. We came up with a unifying campaign around that, which would allow us to bring in some of our strengths from last year, bringing in partners from companies, brands, bringing in nonprofits, featuring them as speakers, using some of their resources to help engage and bring more people into this empathy movement. And we want to do that times 3 million this year, and we need your help. So we're going to have programming all throughout the year. We're excited to see you guys on Sundays. We have some announcements at the end of the event. We have two really excitements at the top of the event, which would be a great time to pull up the slides. The first is this weekend is the official launch of the We Claim 1% campaign. That campaign is about taking a really powerful and divisive phrase, the 1%, a phrase that's come to mean something about scarcity and hoarding and sort of not necessarily thinking community minded, and turn it into a new powerful meaning, which is 1% of the population pledging to spread empathy, pledging to do the work on themselves to strengthen their own tools to show up with grace and spread empathy. Year long, we're going to be working with brands, community organizations, creators, to build advocacy around movements for human rights, all under the banner of We Claim 1%. And this is the kickoff. It's just the ground floor. We're so blessed that it was mentioned alongside other activities honoring our honorable Dr. Martin Luther King. Essentially, year long, we're going to be working to get people signing this pledge, building partnerships. We have a few that will be getting announced really soon, which you can find out by following us on Actually Curious, signing the pledge on WeClaim1%.com. And I can't wait to go on this ride with you all. And for this journey, we brought on some help to help us right here at the start, to help us make sure that we could show up for you all, for the community, for ourselves when we need to. If I need to take a break every Sunday to help you all strengthen your empathy muscles alongside us. And with that, I'm so excited to invite to the floor our co-host for 2021, the multidisciplinary performance artist, community builder, activist, leader, Sinead.
Hey guys. Hello, happy Sunday to everybody here today. I'm super excited to be a part of the Actually Curious family. I was lucky enough to meet Caroline and Michael like 3 years ago now, I guess. 2021 to 3 years ago. It was at an event or sort of like a kind of political rally in Brooklyn, and they were promoting Actually Curious, and I actually bought one of the cards, one of the decks, and ended up using them throughout my life, and we got reconnected again earlier this year, and now this is all fruitioned into this, and a beautiful opportunity to connect with community again. It's very auspicious how it's happened, and I'm super, super grateful because we need things like this in our lives. I know for me, I am a multidisciplinary artist, movement artist. A lot of my expressions are, sound, movement, visual art, and a slew of other things. But one of my favorite things about all of these collectively is that it creates conversations and it creates communication, and I can base it off of the experiences that I have. Conversation is so important right now because the most important thing we can do is converse with each other. And I think the most important conversation that I do have is with my body. It's the combo that I have between me and my body. I've come to realize that a lot of spaces and a lot of places aren't necessarily safe for people of color. And I think the most important space that I've really been looking at is the internal space, the emotional body. It doesn't just impact trauma and, all these experiences we're going through doesn't just impact the external world, it impacts the internal world. And so I'm really, really interested and intrigued and curious and invested in how do we find safety in the outside world while curating and fine-tuning that safe space within us. And I think Actually Curious does a beautiful job at creating or starting a conversation on how we can find these spaces and create them. So I've been on my own personal journey of radicalizing myself and revolutionizing myself by paying attention to how I feel about myself and how I can create and feel that sense of safety within myself to then create a sense of safety for others around me. I like to consider myself like an agent of change and almost like a beacon of light. So, what's it like if my beacon is a little dim? I got to fine tune it and make sure that it's always bright because somebody needs to see it somewhere. I want to be able to be like a signal. People need to come home. Here I am right here. So I use my body to engage with a lot of stuff like that. And I think something I'm really excited to be offering while in tandem with Actually Curious is offering tools for the body. How do we speak to our body? How do we engage with it? And so I definitely want to take a moment, if all of you will allow me, to check in and have like a grounding moment, if that's cool. Yeah, it's cool. All right, cool. I'm looking at everyone. I have two screens. I got my phone screen and my computer screen. So everyone, I'm assuming, is sitting down. Yeah. All right. Everyone sitting down. I want you to put your 2 feet on the floor and get a nice little space. Make sure you feel nice and just grounded, I guess. Sitting on your 2 butt bones. If you want to, shake around left and right to see where you're at, see if you're feeling good. And I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to embrace yourself. So take your arms, wrap them around you, and just hold yourself. Yes, just like that. Yes, you guys are looking so fantastic. Keep your eyes closed. Don't worry about the screen or anything right now. Just listen to my voice. And I want you to say these words inside of your head. I'm going to say a few phrases, and I want you to continue holding yourself with your eyes closed and just say these phrases to yourself. I'm still here. I feel safety in my body, and I direct my own life. I love and let go of who I was. I love and hold on to who I am. And I love and lead with who I will be. I speak openly, and I speak non-judgmentally. I see me. I see me. I see me. And I understand that I am for me and always will be. And while you sit there with these thoughts, take in 3 deep breaths in your own timing, in your own space, in your own way. Think about what it means to see yourself. Think about what it means when you walk around in the world and how you want to be seen. Think about the ways in which you want to be loved. And let that permeate out of you. I'm going to read a quote for you while you think about all of this. The greatness of a community is most accurately measured by the compassionate actions of its members, a heart of grace, and a soul generated by love. How will all of you during this time that we have together and that you will have after this moment, how will you find the compassion for yourself? How can you activate your thoughts and your words and your feelings? How can you activate those to find compassion for the world around you?
Oh, good. Oh, love it.
Take one more deep breath. And let it all out. And you feel good. Yes, you can open your eyes now. The most important thing we can do right now is continuing to find that passion, that compassion, the passion for compassion, okay? Find that. It's crucial. It's key. So excited to be here with everybody. Really glad that you guys are letting me start this off and with grounding and connecting. Vital, vital, vital. Thank you so much. Super excited.
Thank you so much, Sid. Wow. Oh man. I just felt like my chest like open up and like my heart just like jump out.
Good.
Ah,
And the quote was by Coretta Scott King, by the way, just letting y'all know.
that was beautiful and so timely. So timely.
And it builds off so much of what Dr. King said when he said everyone can be great because everyone can serve.
Oh, we are all extraordinary.
As long as you have a heart of the exact thing that you just said.
Right. We're all extraordinary. We're all ordinary people making extraordinary decisions every day. What's your extraordinary decision of the day? Make it every day.
Well, everyone, join me in welcoming Sid to the Actually Curious Empathy Workout family. I think this empathy movement just leveled up big time, getting her to contribute her time and her energy and her skills and heart to this movement. And we're gonna take her lead right into this next section where we all get involved. And this next section is called the empathy workout section. So each week I curate a mini empathy workshop for us here. They're usually about 20 to 25 minutes, and they allow us to use the cards to practice strengthening tools of empathy in ourselves. We're excited to see this unfold. Can we pull up the screen? So this week's empathy workout is going to be called Musical Squares. This is our first time doing this one. Okay. So the way musical squares will work is I'll select the first question from the blue cards. We're going to only use the original Actually Curious deck for this, the white deck. I'll select the first card, and our producer, Caroline, who is our producer, creative director, and so many things, my partner, my romantic partner, is going to set a clock. I don't even know how long she's going to set the clock for. One person will start. Everyone, we're going to share the space. So spend 30 to 90 seconds on your response so that you can give room. You all are the music in this musical squares, and the squares, it's because it's Zoom and it's Zoom squares, you get it? So you all are the music, and then once the time stops, whoever is still speaking, that person will decide whether we go up to green or we stay in blue, and you will start the next round for us, and then we'll do it again. So that's musical squares. This is one rule of Actually Curious is this really about practicing listening, listening to other people. I like to try to pay attention to whether like responses trigger anything in me emotionally as a way of having an active experience with listening with other people. But once someone is done with their share, I'm looking for someone to hop right in and start sharing until time's up. Cool? Can I get a few head nods? All right, awesome. Well, so we're ready to start. And our first question is, when do you feel most secure? And you're on the clock. And Caroline, if you can like maybe let us leave the alarm on so we can hear it when it stops. When do you feel more secure? Popcorn style, who's up?
I feel most secure actually when I'm in my apartment or my room or my house in general by myself. I feel like I can make all the noise I want. I can talk about what I want. I can pretend I'm in an episode of Law and Order. I can do whatever I want. And I think I feel secure in that way because I'm able to spend the time listening to my emotions, my thoughts, and my ancestors, and really just do what I feel most authentically and naturally, and not worry about anybody judging me or questioning me or interrupting me or watching me or needing anything from me. So I feel really secure in my alone time in my space, where I know everything is how I want it and how I love it.
Thank you, Amina. What a way to lead it
Very
off.
secure when I'm in my creative zone.
Ooh, short and sweet, Al. Short and sweet.
I feel most secure when I'm at the beach, and a secluded beach. And whenever I go there, no matter what's happening in my life, I'm just so at peace and I'm so happy, and I just like to sit there and listen to the waves.
That's beautiful. Thank you for that visual.
I have one.
Yeah, go for it.
Mine is when I'm reading. When I'm reading a book, and it has to be like a paper where I'm holding it instead of digital, and I lose myself in the book. It feels safe because I'm taking myself out of this world into the world that I'm reading. So, and that's been my safety method all throughout my life.
Ooh, thank you for bringing us there.
I feel most secure when I'm on my back porch early in the morning and I'm meditating, and I may hear the birds, I may hear wind chimes, but I'm essentially just focusing on the fact that I'm here and connected to the earth.
Oh, that's so beautiful, Donna. Thank you for that share. That sounds like my morning routine.
Did you hear my ringer?
No, I didn't hear it. I was just like, I was wondering if the time was up.
I think it's because it's in my headphones and it doesn't really catch the sound. Time is up.
Say hi, Caroline. Caroline's calling in from Copenhagen.
Yeah, that's why it's dark
So,
outside.
Donna, you get to lead us into the next round. Where are you calling in from, Donna?
I'm calling in from Emerald Isle, North Carolina. It's on the coast of North Carolina.
Ooh, Emerald Isle on the back porch with the wind chimes.
Yes.
All right. So, okay, wait. So you have a choice. We've unlocked the green level. So your choice is, do we stay in blue where we just were, or do we go up a level to green?
Let's go up a level to green.
Okay, I'll give you one more choice then. So this, we're gonna get a little more intimate here. Tell me when to stop with my finger and I will.
Stop.
Okay. All right, here we go. Caroline, you got the clock?
Yep.
Okay, Donna, what's the most important thing that was omitted from your education growing up? What's the most important thing that was omitted from your education growing up?
I have one.
Wait, Donna first, and then
Okay.
so save it for you're next, Janine.
I think it was emotional intelligence, education on emotional intelligence. I think I've learned more about that as an adult. And since learning about that, it has served me well as a leader, as a wife, as a mother, as a citizen, as a fellow, another human. And I think it's done a lot for my just mental well-being. And I think if we did more of that and just in general education to know how to take care of ourselves and our emotions, I just think we would all be better served. And I think you have to know how to have compassion with yourself before you can have compassion with others. And I think emotional intelligence, emotional well-being is part of that.
100% agreed. And if anyone in the community is doing work along those lines and you are perfect, you all are, but perfect candidate to join this movement, and we can figure out ways to connect people. And so use us as a connector in that regard. Janine, we're excited to hear from you.
Yes, the most important thing that was omitted from my education, I feel, is Black history. I've learned more about my history in the last 2 years because of the social unrest, sadly, than my entire life. And I think that if I had that, it would have caused me to have more self-confidence. It would have given me more wisdom, resiliency, and more. So I'm trying to now, I can't go back, but I'm trying to embrace learning as much as I can now.
Started at 3.
Thank you for sharing that. And that hits home for me because I actually, when I think about bias and I think about privilege, one of the privileges that I have is I grew up and went to a school that had all Black and Caribbean teachers. And I didn't realize that that was something unique to my education. And I kind of took it for granted for a long time. And I do want to just share as a teaser that beginning at the end of this month and kicking off the Black History Month, we'll be doing a partnership with a colleague of ours that we met through social media, through this community organization called her name's Kanene Holder. And we'll be publishing little more facts and ways that people can be allies all year long on our Actually Curious Instagram. So we'll do little parts, we'll program to give more education, and we're kicking off on Sunday the 31st with Black History Year. So, all right, who's up? Karen. Go ahead, Karen. Karen was like, I could see Karen's screen.
Okay, I'm gonna jump in here. So I'm calling in from Oak Park, Illinois, where it's that progressive liberal place that's been working on diversity forever. But what I realized, I grew up in rural Iowa, but I think this is universal, that not only was Black history not taught to any of us, but just a whole analysis of lots of things like Native Americans and how they were robbed of their land and all that kind of thing. And as we try to read books to educate ourselves, we were not informed about the GI Bill, disenfranchising a whole race of folks coming back from, not being able to buy, redlining, all those kinds of legal ways that our government, impinged upon history. None of that was taught to anybody, I think. And so, let alone in the rural Iowa, I didn't get enough analysis of anything, I don't think, in my education. But I think that was a real detriment, and that it's harmed white people from being able to understand and see beyond their bubble, and that now there needs to be a movement of white people to understand those things on top of everything else, to try to eradicate all these problems. I'm a social worker, I'm all into empathy anyway. So.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Caroline, one more, or
it's the time. I'm trying to place it close to my ear, but it doesn't seem to be working.
Heard that one. What a lovely chime. So Karen, that means that you get to choose whether we stay in green, go back down to blue, or we go up to yellow.
Let's go up to yellow.
I had a feeling you were going to say that, Karen. I could sense it. Okay, so let's see. The yellow. Okay, you tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Okay, I almost went past this question. Ooh, this is a good one. All right, Karen, the question is, have you ever experienced discrimination? How did you feel in that moment?
So I think, I was married to an African-American man, and, actually in the 70s, when I was married here in Chicago, we really surprisingly didn't experience a whole lot of discrimination, except for the time, and this was not on purpose. I went to view an apartment that we wanted to rent by myself, And then it was all good until I brought him the second time around. And then suddenly the key was lost and it was no longer up for rent and those kinds of things. And it was like, okay, so this is not even a question of what happened here. And it was like, okay, so it's a joint project now being discriminated against because of my marriage. Yes. I don't know. It didn't feel good.
Thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
I can like feel tension in my chest because I always worry if that's happening to me. Who's up? The question is, have you ever experienced discrimination? How did you feel in that moment?
Hi, I have. I felt that way both racially, because I'm African American, and also gender based. I'm a female and I'm in a male dominated profession. And so I felt that way many a times, and especially where people were like, oh, can you get me coffee? I'm like, no, I'm not the administrative assistant, which is nothing wrong with administrative assistants. We need everyone, but I've worked hard to get my degree. And so I felt it multiple ways.
Yeah, how many people can agree or relate to some of that?
Yeah, I can definitely relate. I work in white corporate America. I've always been the only Black employee, and I've received discrimination when when I try to speak up in meetings, not aggressively, but I'm considered the angry Black woman. And they always feel like I'm attacking them, or they'll say, watch your tone. And it's very discouraging because over time, I've had to mute myself. You know, I have had to change who I am as a person, so that I won't come across this way. But it's just discrimination, yeah. And I feel like like I'm taken away from my peace and who I am every day because I mute myself.
Yeah, that one hits home for me.
For me, there was an incident that still really affects me where it wasn't necessarily me getting discriminated against, but I was the person who called it out. And in doing that, it was the like denial and disbelief and sort of like, like throwing away of like what I was saying and like observing in my experience. And that itself was very just shitty. It did not feel good.
Yeah. Thank you, Javier.
I think it's more in like an abstract sense, but I've been in relationships that were emotionally abusive, and it kind of, there were so many parallels between those and racism and sexism, because you're just being told that you're you're told that you're a liar, you're told that your version of the truth isn't the same. So kind of the discrimination of emotional abuse that is the same as the psychological warfare against, you know, your skin and your gender and your sexuality. So yeah, I'd count all of that as discrimination, but the main example is emotional abuse.
Thank you for that perspective.
I think any form of invalidation feels discriminatory to me. I'm a 68-year-old Black non-hetero man who happens to be HIV negative, who's been doing HIV work for 30 years. But no one has ever asked me or invited me to speak on how it is that I have remained HIV negative all this time. I felt kind of marginalized, and maybe because we don't want to make people who are HIV positive feel any kind of stigma. So in some ways I have allowed myself to be discriminated against because I didn't want to impact other people that I cared about.
Thank you, Al.
It's the time, y'all. It's Al's turn to pick a new level. Stay here and move on.
Let's talk about Copenhagen. That's one of my favorite spots.
Really? It's really cold.
Hey, it's pretty chilly in Detroit.
Pretty warm in my virtual room.
Yes, the palm trees swaying and all of that good stuff.
All right, Al. Well, here, just before we dive in, I just wanted to say one thing I'm going to try and pay more attention to, especially with Sid here on the squad and bringing attention to our bodies, is I mean, I really noticed some changes in my body. I felt like my temperature changed a bit, some tension throughout my body throughout that share. And I just want to urge you all or invite you all to pay attention to those subtleties as you're going through these empathy workouts, because they really help you pick up on clues in your day-to-day life when emotions are coming to you, when you can reconnect them back to an emotion you experienced in a slow, safe space here. So Al, you're a vet, so I think I know what you're gonna do, but I don't really know. Who knows, right? I feel like I know. So we just did a yellow. We can go up to pink. We can go back down to green or blue.
Well, let's go up to pink. Hey, man, let's live dangerously. It's 2021 now.
21, and we are here to get those reps in on our empathy muscles. So if it's
yes,
not,
yes.
All right. So
and this is our last question.
Ooh, okay.
Today.
Now.
Time flies.
Did you say stop? Okay, I'm going back. Let me know.
Now.
Oh, you did say now before? I thought you said wow. Okay. All right. Okay, this is almost the flip of the last question. Going out with the T. Describe one time you've judged someone based on a perceived difference.
Ooh. Well, I can certainly think of any number of times with that. I mean, I've been judging people so much lately based upon, what kind of insignia they're wearing or whose flag they are carrying, and that is one of the ways in which I'm really working on my own empathy, because I know as long as I continue to judge all of these people, and certainly in the most recent events in Washington, D.C., we've seen such a variety of people from so many different walks of life. And I've seen a surprising number of people I identified as people of color as well. So I got a lot of, that for me, that's an ongoing judgment issue that starts, right up there at the top. I found one point of contact with that person, which was low flow toilets. Neither of us like low flow toilets. But other than that, I'm still working on it in a big way. So go for it.
Thank you, Al. Thank you for leading off on that difficult question and showing us how you're flexing with it and trying. Baby steps, right?
I've noticed that I have a lot of implicit bias that I'm catching when I'm in a lot of different places, but I think a really simple one for me is when I'm driving. I tend to think things like if someone cuts me off and I look at who the driver is and it's a man, then I'll think a thought about that. Or if in honesty, something I'm working on is if it's a person of color, what are my initial reactions? And then how am I stopping that? And I feel like for me to do that in the car, practicing when I'm by myself is a way that I'm constantly working that muscle of checking myself and checking that split second reaction of oh wait, I don't need to think that about someone. It's just another person driving a car trying to get somewhere, and their gender, sex, race, like that's not in the equation right now. So I feel like for me as a white person, checking myself in the smallest moments hopefully will help me contribute to like the bigger moments when I need to do that too.
Thank you, Riley.
I'd love to add, I'm Sonia from San Diego, and I work in the healthcare industry. And I have to tell you, I have a judgment problem that is fierce right now. And it has to do with anytime I see somebody choosing not to mask up in public, or choosing to seem 10 months later to not understand that your nose goes in the mask, not outside of the mask. And it is just fierce, and I haven't been able to get over it yet. I don't know if I will.
I have one. In the past, well, I grew up very religious. So in the past, I discriminated against the LGBT community. But it was more of deep entrenched religious beliefs instead of actually seeing the person, and changing my perspective of who someone is and accepting people regardless. And so I've learned a lot, and I've, kind of forced myself to educate myself so that I can continue to change my perspective and be more open-minded.
Thank you, Jeannie.
Yeah. I was going to put this in the chat, but now that I'm speaking, I'll say it out loud. I thank you for that, Janine. Thank you. I would say that I work with young people. I'm a mental health counselor at a residential program. So we look at their files, and we often get their assessments before sometimes we get to actually meet them. And while I'm usually pretty good at just being completely open-minded, I definitely recognize that there are times when a kid will come in, maybe he's, got conservative parents, or is just from a completely different place, space, and mindset than me, and I'm automatically like, oh man, here we go. Like, I have to deal with this. He's probably gonna call me that. He's probably gonna want this, and I'm just gonna have to hear all this nonsense this whole time. And there was this one kid in particular who was there because he had heard a cat, and I love cats. So I was like, I am not gonna like this kid, like, nuh-uh. But we actually ended up getting along really, really well. We had a good amount of things in common, and I was a big part of his healing journey. So that was one of those times that really I redirected myself on thinking, of these invisible barriers and borders that we create.
Thank you. All right, we time's up. Thank you for playing musical squares with me. What beautiful music y'all put out there in the tapestry of life. I had a situation recently where I was on a call with like, I'm in advertising with a bunch of advertising strategists, and they were all white men, and I felt like angry right off the bat, and I felt attacked before they even talked, and it was weird. I'm very sensitive these days, I suppose. Thank you all for going so deep and getting so vulnerable with us, and modeling the vulnerability that it takes to find the biases in ourselves and get compassionate with ourselves to even be able to potentially have the ability to show up with that compassion for someone who might have differing views. I would love to open up the floor for any questions for about 5 minutes, and then we're going to close out with a couple announcements for the weeks ahead and an intention for the week. So the way this section works is you can just kind of hop off. You can mute and just say hello and ask any questions. You can ask a question of Sinead as well. No questions?
I have a question.
Comments?
This is my first time here. I came across you guys on a a social media platform for people of color, and I was just surprised that I never came across it because I'm passionate about empathy. I actually have a greeting card business that focuses on bringing empathy to the world. One of my challenges is how do you approach, well, how do you get people to not be afraid of just anything associated with empathy up front, because it's not quote unquote popular, especially when it comes to social media. And so that's been my challenge, not to come across like dark or anything by talking about these sensitive subjects, but figure out a way to bring people in.
Yeah. Our approach is to just continue to try to be creative about finding ways of meeting people where they're at. That's why we created the third game, the Culture Edition, which is all kind of water cooler talk. Who would score the soundtrack to your life? Just things that you can usually connect with people across generations, across any affiliation, and get at least used to sharing. So I think as a greeting card author, copywriter, designer, I would just always think about what's an intersection point or interest point that you can embed a message within.
I like that. Thank you.
Thank you, Janine. Any comments or questions? Leah?
Yeah, thanks. So I'm just so appreciative of this group. I'm a certified Dare to Lead facilitator of Brene Brown's work. And when I do this work, I normally am with people who are fighting empathy and fighting against vulnerability. And so I feel like I have just been fulfilled for this last hour. So thank you so much. When it comes to the judgment questions, what struck me, I know I see it in myself all the time, but we tend to judge others in the areas where we're most prone to our own shame. And so just something to kind of keep in mind as we become more and more aware of where we do judge, that there's probably something underneath the surface that we're not addressing for ourselves. And I like to use the iceberg analogy that we showed people 10% of ourself above the water, but the 90% that's really what's happening is under the water. So thanks for being so open.
Thank you, Leah.
Yeah, this is more of a sharing. I want to kind of build off of what Leah said. I'm really appreciative of this space just because I am incredibly empathic, actually, and it can sometimes be a detriment to me because I don't have the most strong boundaries or understanding of how empathy can serve me. Well, not serve me, that sounds so extractive, but how it can benefit and nourish my life. So I'm really thankful for a space that's focused on practicing empathy and exploring empathy. I think it's something that goes underrepresented in the world and unexplored in the world. We talk about it a lot, but we don't really explore it. So I'm really thankful for the space that's intentional about exploring empathy.
Yeah, thank you for that appreciation. Anyone else want to add your music to the tapestry?
Just to jump in off the back of what Amina said, I also have similar issues, and I think what Sinead did with bodywork was really interesting. So one thing that I've been doing to really help me on the empathy and boundaries is, I got this tarot reading and she was like, you need to just go back into the practices of your ancestors. So like for me, I was taught meditation by a load of white people, which, it was great, but it didn't quite do it for me. So like one thing I've found that's been really helpful is just to kind of like speak to my parents, speak to my grandparents, and just kind of find out what spiritually helped them. And that's kind of really allowed me to get into my roots and the chakras, because I'm Indian. And it's just helped, because when I set a boundary, I get really scared. It just kind of helps me to just kind of be like, you know, it's okay even if people don't like you if you do this. You're exactly where you need to be. You belong here. So that's been helpful for me.
Amazing. Thank you, Rupin. Thank you for sharing that perspective. All right. Well, I got a couple announcements, and then we'll actually stick around until 15 past just to connect and maybe play a few cards from the happy hour edition. So we can pull up the slides. I'll lead us on out with some news. So if you missed it at the top of the program, we announced that this weekend we kicked off a campaign, the We Claim 1% campaign. It's a movement to get 1% of the US population pledging to spreading empathy and advocating for human rights. We're just at the beginning. It's gonna take effort from you all, we're talking with brands and organizations, and we'll start rolling out partnerships all year long. Would so love your support. If you could go to weclaim1%.com and sign the pledge. And then if you put your address in, we'll send you a cute welcome package soon. And then empathy workouts. So we've got the next 2 planned. Actually, we've got like the next 4 kind of almost fully planned, but we're rounding them out and making them the best programs we can. So next week, we'll talk about let's wrestle with empathy. What is empathy? What isn't empathy? How can we be talking about showing up every Sunday to strengthen empathy when there are people out there who are trying to start a war? So we're going to wrestle with that conversation. And then on the 31st, we're going to kick off Black History Month, but we're actually making it Black History Year. We have 2 really powerful speakers, Yasmin Jamila from Transparent and Black, who's going to be speaking to us about Black healing, and Kanene Holder from Black Issues, who's going to be kicking off the sprint, the marathon, the relay, which is advocating and learning about Black history and passing that baton, holding that baton, passing that baton, not dropping that baton, and keeping the race going. So she's trained me so well that I can almost like say some of her taglines now. I'm really excited for you all to hear both of them speak. They're both such powerful, magnetic speakers. And of course, empathy workouts with me. And then we will lead it off with an intention for the week. I'd like to use these Sundays as a point of reflection, a point of resetting, getting organized, and setting our intentions for the week. And our intention for the week, if you so choose to incorporate it into your week, is the movement starts with me. And what that speaks to is the one thing we can control. I can't control you. I don't want to. We can't control our neighbors. We can control how we show up on a daily basis, how we check into our judgments and learn a bit more about our traumas, our healing. Thank you for sharing that, Leah. And a funny thing happens. You start to see the pain in people that they don't even see themselves. You start to see how judgment comes out in sometimes ugliness or in anger or in ways that make you feel threatened. And then you can have compassion for that. And in a weird way, that's the most powerful thing you can do, is just continue to heal yourself and get stronger at understanding what the necessity of healing looks like. And we're going to be here to do that alongside one another every Sunday at 2, strengthening our empathy muscles together. So here we are, ground zero. Y'all ready? With us for this year-long movement? All right, I'm going to be looking at those signups. I check it like every couple hours. I'm going to have to stop doing that. Thank you all for joining us for Empathy Workout number 1 in 2021. And I don't think we have any outro music, but I'm going to wish you all a lovely week. And for those who have some time to stick around and introduce yourself and pull a few cards with me, then we'll be here until 15 past. So, goodbye to y'all who have to go. Have a good Sunday.
I'd love to stick around for a few, if I may.
Amazing, Gloria. Cool. So the way this will work is, you just pop up, introduce yourself, where you're from, and I'll pull a card for you.
Okay. My name's Gloria Ramsey, and I hail from Bethesda, Maryland, and I am an academic leader in the space of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I'd like very much to use empathy as a pathway for healing and for solidarity.
That's beautiful. I love your backdrop, Gloria.
Thanks.
Okay, your question is, I'm the CEO of blank, and my next innovation is blank.
Wow. I'm surrounded by lots of arts folks here. So what's my next innovation? My next innovation in this space, oh dear, that's a toughie for me.
Tell us what you're CEO of then.
Yeah, thank you for help. I'm a CEO of a, health. I'm a CEO of a health organization. And certainly we're focused on the health of the community at large. And in that space of that community health, we're going to innovate something that brings us together. Find something that's common among all members of the community. That would be the glue for building.
Amazing. Thank you for taking us on that journey with that brainstorm along the way to healing and health. Thank you. All right, who's up?
I can go. I'm Janine Maryland from Nashville, Tennessee. I have a greeting card business called Granny's Conversations. It's greeting cards for the soul. I started it back in 2016. I'm a graphic designer. That's what I do for my day job and freelance. Designing is my passion, but also I'm in love with words. So writing and poetry, all of that is my passion as well. I wanted to combine my two passions of design and words together to help heal the world. So my greeting cards, they're not like typical cards. They're only for subjects that we experience every day, like miscarriages, divorce, suicide, things like that, the deeper subjects. And they're all written from the way Granny talks to you, like baby child, because those are subjects that it's hard to see that your friend would relate. But if you give your friend the card and they read it like their grandmother's talking to them, then it feels like a hug from Granny, and they're more apt to receive it because it's from their granny. So
That's amazing. I think we need to collaborate on a greeting card for the We Claim 1% campaign. So definitely I'm going to look out for your name. You ready? Your question is, I know I finally made it when blank.
I know I finally made it when I have peace with my past.
Yeah. Some people say when they have a washer and dryer. That's a very New York answer. When you have a washer and dryer in your apartment, you've made it. Thank you, Janine. I'm working on that too.
I'll go.
Voices we have. Yeah, I can't. Who's that?
Me.
Sid.
Oh, hey, Sid. Like I know you. All right. We know who you are. All right.
Oh.
Your question is, yeah, I actually really do want to know this about you. What is your favorite city in the world? Describe it so well that we all want to move there.
My favorite city in the world. What is my favorite city in the world? Okay. Oh, dang. I don't know if I have a favorite city because I have so many favorite cities. That's my problem. You know, the phrase citizen of the world, like I'm not a fan of that phrase necessarily, but I definitely do feel mostly connected to my main city, New York. I'll just talk about New York. I love New York. I mean, you can't get a slice of cheese pizza, a really good slice of cheese pizza anywhere else other than New York. I'm in Florida now. I just moved to Miami. And the cheese pizza here is really weird. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to last for another 6 months without a slice of cheese pizza. I'm going to have to ship one out to myself. But New York City, it really has my heart. I mean, from just the mesh and the mishmash of humans that are out there, from living in Washington Heights to traveling to the Bronx just to get tacucho, which is like Venezuelan like burrito. I'll take a 2-hour train ride to go up there to then go 2 hours back into Brooklyn to go to the beach because Far Rockaway is really far, but why not? Because it's a beach and I can do it. We have it. It's accessible. Then, you know, Grand Central, looking at the interior and just the way it's designed, it's beautiful. I mean, you can't get this sort of like experience anywhere. And there are people from everywhere doing everything. I mean, 125th Street, that whole strip, it's just culture riveting and busting out of its seams. Even the trains, like I love the trains because it's a movie all the time, every day. Don't take the G train because the G train is and it's slow, but I love the G. Green Point.
Train growing up.
Yeah, New York City is just a bomb. It's bomb.com. Go to New York, guys, if you haven't been. It's bobbing.
Except now you're in Miami for an undefined.
Oh, yeah, except I am in Miami. So right now, New York is maybe not so hot because, you know, it's a lot of things going on. But to my, you know, I'm really into spirituality, and I've been on this 3-year mission of like finding myself and finding more peace within myself, and also, Janine, making peace with my past. That has been a really big mission for me. And I came out here because I came out here in October to visit my sister, and then something kind of told me to come back, and everything kind of happened for me to come back. I literally could feel it, like at my feet, my legs, my spirit, everything was like, you need to leave New York. So I packed up my apartment like the week before I bought my ticket, got someone to sublet my apartment for 6 months. And I bought a one-way ticket to come to Miami. I'm staying with my friend. He's housing me and taking care of me. Love him. And I'm just making art because that's what I got to do. You know, I quit my job in New York. I was like, forget you guys. You guys don't care about humanity. I do. And I got to go care about humanity elsewhere. So that's what I'm doing out here.
Love that. Yeah. As a one New York expat to another, I've recently relocated to Boston in September. And yes, it was 2 days ago, I went to a place called New York Pizza. And the pizza was anything but. I haven't gone on a full journey to find, but I feel you.
The slices are large out here, though. They're huge.
The pizza in Copenhagen, actually really good.
Yeah, we have pretty good pizza. We have good bread makers. That's what really makes a good pizza.
Gonna have to hop over to Copenhagen.
That was one of the
Yes,
first things
please.
Caroline told me when we started dating, was that bread is an art form, Michael.
Yes, I stand by it.
I think we have time for one or two more. If anyone who hasn't gotten to speak wants to give it a go in the smaller group. Gail?
I'll go. Yes, I'll go next.
Cool.
So my name is Gail. I am in Woodstock, Maryland, relocated here from Texas, from Houston, Texas in July of last year. Got married 3 months ago and found actually curious, just I was looking for a game to play during the holidays with my family and saw it. And then about 2 days after I ordered it on Amazon, I think it was, or maybe it was from the website, I saw you on the Today Show. And I was like, oh, I just ordered that. And anyway, we played it at Christmas and just really enjoyed it. It was, you know, me, my sister, brother-in-law, my husband, and my mom. And was just blown away, you know, at how much she enjoyed it and like sort of got in on the conversation. So I think it's incredible what you've done here. So glad to be a part of the session today.
Thank you, Gail.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Gail. Yeah, there's Janine was talking about coming to peace with our past, and a lot of things have happened concurrently alongside the development and the growth of this game. But I spent like 6 months with my parents in Florida for the first time, being that long with them since I went away to boarding school when I was 12 years old. So it was this contact zone that was crazy. And Caroline's she's been shotgun for this all. And it's been this real, when I see the moments where like my father volunteers to me now that he's sad, he misses my two brothers who passed in 2019. And he just, he never really talked about it. He's like, oh, you know, sometimes he said, sometimes I feel depressed and I reach out to you so that we could talk, but he never had any language for this sort of thing.
Wow.
And actually my mom the other day, she was like, oh, when you don't follow up with me, I feel anxious in my stomach. She's now applying like where her emotions are showing up in her body. So I just want to say that the family connection, the intergenerational family connection, and the topics we've been hitting on here in this extra like light space, which is the beautiful thing here, is part of what keeps us going and going deeper down the rabbit hole where Actually Curious is taking us. So thank you for sharing that, and thank you for giving me the platform to share that. All right, one last one. Who's going to close us out?
I'll take the question.
You take it? Oh, I didn't give you a question, did I?
No.
I forget. I get all excited.
It's okay.
I'm gonna go with. Okay, is anyone around? Because this one's a little racy, maybe.
Of course, the one I would pick.
Think of 3 people you've dated. What do they all have in common? I see you got the headphones on, so.
Yeah. Gosh. Well, I tell you, the one thing they've all had in common is that they were all extremely intelligent, very well educated and extremely intelligent. And so I've always felt lucky that I've had the opportunity or blessed to have the opportunity to date guys who were, just really great people. And for whatever reason, it just wasn't what was meant to be for that season or time of my life, but felt like it was always preparing me for my husband. I mentioned that I got married about 3 months ago, and I mean, we're like mirror images of each other almost, and just the way that we think and the way that we live life and what we value and all of that. So I've been blessed in that sense.
Thank you, Gail.
You're welcome. Nice meeting you all.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. What a beautiful way to close us out. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for hanging back and sharing a little bit more of your time and your Sunday with us. We're excited to see you next week if you can make it, or in a future Sunday down the line. Share this with your friends. We'd love to grow the community till this is maxed out, and we have to figure out some other way to continue to hold space. So, can't wait to see you soon, and have a great week. Have a peaceful week. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.